Hi y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Hope and I am the face behind Thecozycosm. Today's video is all about organization. YouTube organization videos are my absolute favorite. That's like how I got into YouTube originally. And pantry organization are some of my favorite to watch, so of course I had to make one. I'm going to show you guys how I organize my pantry, how I organize my spice drawer, and how I organize my coffee and tea station. All right, we'll start our pantry tour at the top of the pantry. In the top of the pantry, in the very top shelf, I like to keep all of my extra paper towel rolls. I go ahead and take them out of the plastic as soon as I get them home so that they're much easier to pop up and grab whenever I need one. We also keep our some of our pet supplies, I'll show you the rest of them, up here on the top. So we have a bin of, these are like pet cleaning supplies. So I have some baby wipes, some spray for when we have accidents with our puppy, and some Clorox wipes. These are mostly the cat's treats in here. These are mostly dog treats. And then these are the dog treats that don't fit in. These treats are in fact almost as big as the dog herself. All right, coming down to the second shelf, we have more of what you would think of as like typical pantry items. So I'm going to start over here on the left side of the shelf. And one of the organizational tools that I've used here is a double shelf organizer. What I love about this is that it increases the surface area that you have to put things on. So while you would normally need to like stack cans on top of each other if you wanted to take advantage of the vertical space, here I'm actually able to have an entirely separate shelf, so sizes don't have to match up exactly. I keep my shelf stable nut milks that I'm not using yet over here. I have some dried beans, and then these are my like staple canned items: canned beans, canned tomatoes, tomato sauce, diced tomatoes. And I keep my smaller cans up here on this second shelf. So my tomato paste is here. Usually if I have any kind of like fruit or anything like that, it's up here. And generally speaking, there's been a bin of some kind of baked good here all throughout quarantine, but right now it is Saturday, so I haven't baked anything new yet. And one other cool thing that I wanted to point out, this is a tip I learned from Alejandra.tv about organizing your pantry or really organizing any shelf space. As you can see, this organizer doesn't go the entire depth of the pantry, so there's still a little bit of space back here. If I push this all the way back against the wall, it would create this really awkward space in the front. So instead I've pulled it forward, not quite all of the way, but a good amount of the way. And what I've done is actually stored some dry items that I don't access a ton or use super frequently right behind it. So I have a couple things of just like noodle soup mix for any time if we're feeling sick, and then containers of couscous. So instead of having those out and somewhere else in the pantry, they're tucked neatly behind there and really well organized. Moving over to this side of the pantry, we just have a lot of our grains that we use. So we use a ton of white jasmine rice. So I have that in this container and then some oats behind it. These containers literally came from the Dollar Tree. I loved that they had these little handles that you can easily grab. Are these the most airtight containers in the world? Nope, absolutely not. But they get the job done. And if I had other items, these happen to be the two things we need big bins for, but they're nice and sturdy, so I could very easily do that and put other items in front or have other bins in front if I needed to double stack these. I love using a good bin in my pantry for organizing, particularly for items that are, like not boxes, things that are easy to move, or I'm sorry, difficult to move around and not easy to kind of sort through. And so in here, I have all of my other grains that come in bags or containers that just aren't as square or easy to stack. So I have some oats. I have some Banza. This is the Banza orzo, I think. Or they call it rice, but to me it's like orzo. Some brown rice, some lentils, and a little bit of leftover arborio rice. So this is like actually for me a bit above eye level. I'm standing on a stool right now to film. But so what I like about the bin too is it makes it easy to pull this out, pop it on the counter and find what I need and then put it back really easily. Whereas if I were just sorting through these things loose on the shelf, they would be falling over and getting disorganized all the time. And coming down to the next shelf, we have a couple of Lazy Susans, and I'll talk through how I've used these. Over on the left side, we have all of our oils and vinegars. So as you can see, most of my oils and vinegars are on this Lazy Susan. I keep the things that I access the most frequently on the outside of the Lazy Susan and the things that I access less frequently on the inside. That allows me to still have plenty of storage space on the Lazy Susan. I'm not wasting any space by leaving it empty, but I'm also not trying to grab in and find, for example, my olive oil or avocado oil every day. So that is definitely a tip I would use with Lazy Susans. I got these on Amazon. I think they were like $10 each, and they glide so smoothly. I absolutely love them. Over here on the side, I have a little bit of overflow. So for example, I have this super big container that I keep my canola oil for baking in, and it obviously does not fit underneath the shelf, so I just keep that there. This is a finishing olive oil, and so I keep this off just so that, although I don't have the same brand right now, I usually have the California Olive Ranch olive oil as my regular one, so that just helps me to know what this is. Some extra honey, and that's just some white vinegar, again, that don't access super often and didn't fit on the Lazy Susan. Over here on this Lazy Susan, we keep all of our supplements. So I have, or most of our supplements, I should say, I have my Vital Proteins. This is my fiance's creatine, a box of Emergency. Another helpful tip that I learned also from Alejandra.tv is sometimes it doesn't make sense to buy a whole new bin or container for something, but you also want it to be organized and easy to access. So I took the top off of this, and now I can super easily come in and grab an Emergency without needing to take the box out, open the lid, deal with all that. But it also doesn't require that I move them out of this box or do anything like that. Toothpicks are on here just because this was the most convenient space for them to fit. Some different vitamins and some individual pre-workouts that I just take out and put into this mason jar. All right, coming over here, as you can see, this is an empty bin. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this when I talk through my tips at the end of the video, but this bin used to have onions, potatoes, and garlic, but you'll see my new solution for that. And so in the meantime, I haven't figured out what I want to put here, but I do love this basket, so I just left it here so I remember that I have it, and then when I figure out what I want to use it for, it'll be ready for me to grab. We are on to shelf number 4. This shelf has more bins than any of my other shelves, so I will walk you through each of them in detail in a minute, but just to give you an overview of this shelf in my pantry, here we have our nut butters, nuts, and seeds. These are 2 snack bins that we use in our pantry, and then over here we have kind of overflow snacks that haven't yet been opened from their original packaging. So now I'm going to take you in close and show you what is in each of these bins. So like I mentioned, we have 2 snack bins here in the center of this pantry shelf. These are roughly, you could say, this is my fiance's snack bin and this is my snack bin, but it's really not a hard and fast rule. It just was an easier way to start organizing. If he requested specific things from the store, I would toss them in his bin, and if I bought certain things with me in mine, I would put them in mine, but we definitely grab snacks from each other's all of the time. So we'll take a look at his first. We have a big bin of nuts, some trail mix. This is a michelada cup. If you are from Texas, you probably know what these are about. Some tuna, lots of different kinds of popcorn, some little pretzels, and then these Kind bars that I got for free in my most recent Thrive haul. That's going to be a video coming up soon that you guys will see, but these were absolutely free. I got the dark chocolate nut and the crunchy peanut butter. And then in my snack bin, we kind of have a strange assortment. You can definitely tell even just from looking at this who has the sweet tooth. I keep my everything but the bagel seasoning in here. I'm going to show you guys the spice drawer in a little bit, but it didn't fit in that. And honestly, this is an easy place for me to remember to grab it. I have some dark chocolate from Trader Joe's. It comes in a 3-pack. There's one open. These are some single serve sizes of popcorn, marshmallows, sweet tart mini chewies. If you haven't had these, they're so good. I was craving these so much this week, so I went out and I got some whole wheat pita crackers from Trader Joe's, and then we just have some graham crackers. Can you tell that we made s'mores at one point? Graham crackers over here, and a little bit of cereal. I went ahead and pulled this bin out from the pantry. This is the countertop right behind my pantry, so I could show it to you in a little bit more detail. I absolutely love this bin. One, just because it's really easy to grab, but also because apart from buying this bin, which I actually bought probably like 5 years ago, honestly, I don't even remember where I got it from, but I'm guessing it was Home Goods. Everything else in here is a recycled item. So I've been saving all of the containers, glass containers, plastic containers. I have a a cupboard where I keep all of them. And I recently figured out, instead of having a ton of bags like this that were kind of falling all over and difficult to manage, I could put our most used nuts and seeds. This is really like stuff we use for smoothies in here. So these two are actually old coconut oil containers. So I have my chia seeds here, flax here. This is an old candle container, super big, but I washed this out really well a few times, and it has slivered almonds. As you can see, I'm running low on a few things. This was an old salsa jar, again, cleaned it out super well, and I have shredded coconut. And this was actually an old pickle jar that I cleaned out really well and then spray painted the top gold just so it would kind of match with the theme I have going on in the pantry. And these are pepitas or pumpkin seeds. We have a big container of Jif, some creamy peanut butter from Thrive. I wasn't sure how I felt about this peanut butter. I'm still not super sure, but I will say it's very convenient to get out for smoothies. Some pine nuts left over from a recipe and some dried raisins. Again, this is another old candle container that I cleaned out really well. When I decided how to organize my pantry, I decided it made more sense to keep the baking items a little bit lower. While I do access them pretty frequently, I don't access them frequently enough that they needed to take up some more valuable real estate, if you will, at eye level or nearer to eye level. So I went ahead and put those down here, and now I will walk you through from left to right what's going on in terms of organization for this shelf. All right, so over here on the left, I have a lot of my dry goods that I use for baking in these pretty airtight containers. I've had these for a few years. They came in a set, but I'm definitely really happy with how fresh they keep everything. So this is flour, whole wheat flour and almond flour, salt and sugar. In the middle section of this pantry shelf, we have this bin. Again, another bin to corral, kind of difficult to stand up or sort through items. Previously, these items were just sitting on the shelf, and it made it really hard to go through and find exactly what I was looking for. So I found this bin. I already had it on hand. It was bright blue, but I spray painted it this kind of espresso brown to match the cabinets, and now it holds a variety of items that I will give you a look at right now. So we have brown sugar in here, coconut flour. This is a protein pancake mix, another protein pancake mix. This is chocolate, some unsweetened cocoa powder. This is an unopened cocoa powder. To what I said before about how it was hard to see what I had. I didn't realize that I already had cocoa powder and I bought more that I didn't need. That's what happens when you're not organized. I have tapioca flour here and some Vital wheat gluten, which is used in baking breads. And again, love this because not only can I just pull it out and look, I can also just pull the whole thing out of the pantry if I need to, pop it on the counter and find just what I need. Over here on the right, in the front, although I said up at the top earlier that it was easier to put a bin in front and items behind, since these are pretty short, I actually found it easier to put the bin in the back and these in front, plus I grab these items more frequently. So I have cornstarch, stevia, baking powder, and baking soda. And then this bin back here is a little bit of a mix of different items that I use in baking. So we have things such as vanilla bean paste, vanilla, almond extract, some corn syrup, some espresso, instant coffee that I use in baking sometimes, some malted milk, a variety of sprinkles, cinnamon sticks, cinnamon sugar, gelatin packets, and some food coloring gels. And then I have used the trick of pulling up the basket a little bit in the back, and that's where I have some white chocolate chips. I just ran out of chocolate chips, but those usually sit back there pretty nicely too. There's not room for them in the bin, but that just kind of keeps them in place. So they're nice and easy to grab, but they stay organized. All right, and the very bottom of the pantry, honestly, y'all, these might be my very favorite organizational bins that I own. I wanted to get bins like this for almost 2 years before I finally found some that were the right size and just what I wanted. So let me show you what's inside of them and a trick I have for keeping bins like this on the floor. All right, so this first bin on the left, I'm gonna slide out. This is our other pet bin. So we have these OXO airtight seal containers for their dry food. This is the dogs. and this one's the cats. I originally ordered a matching set, but this one came, or the second one came damaged, and for whatever reason I couldn't order this one again, but it's actually worked out well because I don't have to think about if it's the cat's food or the dog's food, because their kibble are pretty close to the same size right now, because the dog is still a puppy. And then back here we have their wet food and their extra bowls. So I use a new clean bowl for the pets every time they get their food, so we have extra ones. The others are either being used or in the dishwasher right now, but the clean ones are always here. And then we have the dog's wet food and the cat's wet food. So this bin is pretty heavy, and honestly, although we don't have wood floors, they are just tile floors, porcelain tile. I wouldn't normally want to just like push this across the floor. I think it would make a pretty gross sound. But another tip from, you guessed it, Alejandra.tv, is using these little things called magic sliders. I'll put a link to some in the description box. They basically are these little adhesives you can put on the bottom of, I have them on here, I have them on bar stools, on our coffee maker that I'll show you guys, and they just allow things to slide back and forth really easily. And this bin right here is what I like to call the overflow bin. So yes, I am organized. Yes, everything should have its place. And the reality is sometimes you have things that don't fit in the right place, or you just have doubles or extras. So this bin has been great for just corralling the things that don't fit where they're supposed to. So for example, we have an extra creatine. Like I said, my fiance uses creatine. We have an extra one. These are our extras of those pre-workouts. I got a new bag of chia. I have some vanilla because the one that's on the other one is almost out. These are all overflow spices. Again, I'm going to show you my spice drawer, but these are just extras. And then I don't have a great place for, and I usually don't keep a ton of boxed baking mixes on hand, but I got this one because it was on clearance for I think 25 cents, and I just thought, why not have it on hand? So I threw it in here. And then the item that always goes in here, like this is where it goes, is our big container of whey. Just because it's so big, it would take up so much space on any of the shelves, it's easier to keep down here. And then finally, this is a funny story about these, y'all. So these are K-cups, and I have literally had this box since March 11th, or whenever the last day I physically went into work was. We had a Keurig at my old campus, and these are my favorite Keurig pods because they taste really good, and the coffee is organic, and the pods are compostable, so I would always make sure to bring my own. And I had just gotten a new box of K-cups to get me through at work, and we closed, and we don't have a Keurig at home. So these are in the overflow box until further notice, whenever we go back to campus. So, all right, we have one more spot in the pantry to explore. All right, the very last part of our pantry is recent. Within the last week, I finally ordered some bins to hang on the door for produce. So I have one for potatoes, one for onions, and one for garlic. These will probably kind of get mixed up. We usually have sweet potatoes and just more potatoes on hand, so I'll probably keep the onions and the garlic together. But I just absolutely loved getting these 3 matching bins to have on there. And like I said, it cleared up some space on the shelves where I was previously storing them. Okay, y'all, here is the spice drawer. I really love what I've done with this. I have always wanted a spice drawer, so I am so excited about showing it to you guys and just showing the few little things that I've done to help keep it organized. So one of the things that I did when I created my spice drawer was to buy these little mats. They're very soft material, and they're from Amazon, and they came a bit longer, and I was just able to cut them down. And what those do is they help to keep the spices in place. So while most of my spices are in squared containers, some of them are in round containers, and these little ridges keep them right in place where they're supposed to be. And then I was able to use the ends that I cut off over here by placing them horizontally instead of vertically to spice some other items. So let me walk you through and show you how this is organized. So as you can see, I have all of my regular spices here. I put them alphabetically because that's the way that's easiest for me to organize them. A tip I would have is to organize all of your items really in a way that makes sense to you. So if you are not someone who is going to remember that things are alphabetically organized, maybe for you it's more by cuisine, then you should do it however works for you. Another tip I have is that you'll often see spice organization videos, and it'll be all 100% uniform spice containers. And if you have the money to do that and you want to, by all means, go ahead. But what I've done instead is just to prioritize getting glass containers as I can for spices. So for example, you can see that like the allspice, the chili powder, and the onion powder, these are not in their original container. So whenever I have an herb or a spice that gets empty and is in a container like this, and I just buy another one, I save this so that they can all become uniform over time. And then other ones like the dill and the curry powder, I don't worry about because those are just little, and I don't need them to be big anyways. So like I said, I like to keep these alphabetized. There are a couple down at the bottom that aren't alphabetized. So these are red chili flakes, and it happened to be just like there were some awkward spaces and these just fit in. So I have chili flakes here. This is salt, needs to be refilled. It has a tiny little spoon that I can do. This is pepper. It was written on there, but it kind of came off. So that's just black pepper. And these are just easy to grab. And then over here on the right side of the, let me turn a little bit. Over here on the right side of the drawer, this is where I keep my spice mixes. So I decided to keep the regular spices and herbs separate from the mixes just so it's easy to differentiate. I keep my bouillon here, and then it worked out really nicely just to keep these horizontally. And so I have this vegetable and fry seasoning, Thai green curry, garlic bread seasoning, spice, garlic bread seasoning. This is a salt-free blend. I really like it. Some taco seasoning. This is called Uncle Chris's. I got it at H-E-B. It's a really great, just kind of all-purpose seasoning for meats. Nature's Seasons, another just really great all-purpose. This is a shawarma blend that I made from spices I had, and then I keep little containers over here. So for example, this is like for ranch. Sometimes I mix that in with Greek yogurt to make a dip. Some more chili flakes, and then anytime I get like a pilaf or anything that comes with a spice blend that I don't use, I just keep it so I can save it and use it at another time. So that is my spice drawer and how it is organized. All right, the last organization piece I wanted to share with y'all today is my coffee station. So the spice drawer that I just showed you, I will kind of give you a look. There is the pantry. Over here is the spice drawer. And my coffee maker, when I had a different coffee maker, actually used to be up here. I got this cabinet custom built when we moved in so that I could keep my microwave and some of the appliances off of the countertop. So we have the microwave there, and I used to have a small coffee maker there, but we bought a new coffee maker, the one that I just showed you, and then it didn't fit there, so I switched it up. And so now I just keep a water heater there, and then behind the water heater is the coffee grinder for my whole beans. But so once I moved the coffee maker over here, I used to have my spices here next to the stove, but I moved the spices so I could turn this into a coffee and tea station. So let me show you what that looks like. So this is my coffee and tea drawer. As you can see, I have this coffee maker on the right-hand side. It is just a regular drip coffee maker. And on the left, it is an espresso machine, and it has a steaming wand also. Absolutely love this machine, really convenient. And let me just walk you through how I've organized the drawer. So on the right-hand side, well, first I use these dividers. These are adjustable dividers. I don't know if you can tell, but they're adjustable, and they have these padding at the end, so they're not going to do any damage to your drawer. So I fit those based on what I need, and I have all of my teas stacked here vertically, which is just really nice because it's very easy for me to see exactly what I have, what I need to get more of. And then back here I have some loose teas. I got these in an advent calendar, and these are just ones that I have left over, so I just keep these back here. A box of black tea to make iced tea with, or if anyone comes over and they want black tea. Usually there would be a bag with like the whole beans of coffee. Right now we don't have any extra, so it's not there, but that would usually go in this space. This is the steamer cup. Just different like little utensils. This is to make espresso. This is for loose leaf coffee. This is the scoop that we use for both espresso and regular coffee. These mugs are all handmade mugs. 3 of them are from Mexico, and then this one is from France. And the reason they're here is because they're a little bit smaller. I don't know if you can tell, but they're pretty small mugs. So these are great for having a little cappuccino or a latte. So I'm just keeping them in this drawer. We have our little single and double espresso, the little, what are these called? I want to say shot glass, but I know that's not right, but the little glasses that the espresso goes in. These are reusable coffee filters. I actually don't use them anymore because there's a built-in filter inside of the coffee machine. And then we have our espresso and then our regular coffee. This is what I put it in after it's ground up from the beans. And I don't know if you can tell, but these are actually 2 of the same containers. So once we finished an espresso, I kept the old one and I just washed it out really well, and I spray painted it with this matte black spray paint so that I could easily tell what was regular coffee and what was espresso. And now they both fit perfectly and they look nice and uniform. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below and let me know if you have any other tips that you would add to organizing your pantry, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos from me. Thanks so much, y'all. Have a great day, and I'll see you next week with a new video. And hello, little girl. Excuse you. Oh, thank you very much.